and a few people may recognize this guy. We are so lucky to have another Hall of Famer joining us today.
Thank you.
From NFL. He's here on behalf of RestoreHair.com. Good morning, you guys. This is special. Thank you for being here as well.
Good morning, Miami. And thank you to all the Cowboy fans who showed their faith.
I see the Cowboys fans showed up early for Super Bowl 50 never coming.
We definitely have a lot to get to today.
Fortunately, we have one of the greatest Cowboys sitting right there. Yes.
Not lying.
And you know who else is stopping by? Michael Irvin. We're also going to talk about the fact that Skip may think a guy named Dak Prescott is better than Mahomes. And I have a feeling everyone around here has a few things to say about it. But first, we do have to talk about what we saw last night. Super Bowl opening night got underway and the stars were out. We were able to hear from Jimmy G, George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, who all seem to be in good spirits as both teams now begin to get laser focused on the game Sunday. Dion, you were there hosting the NFL Network coverage last night and spoke to so many of these guys. In your opinion, which team looked and sounded like they are in the best mental place to win this game?
Both teams look wonderful.
Really?
First of all, the white sweats. I thought Diddy made the outfits for everybody. It's like the
all white
wind
party.
was blowing. It was all white party.
Except for Kyle Shanahan. He comes out in all sort of
Yeah, but
black.
that's who he is.
Okay.
But that's his persona. I like it.
Yeah.
I like. But you see Andy Reid?
Yeah,
When he
he's
came
got
back
the
in,
big flower
I thought he was
shirt.
on the beach. Somebody's also on the beach.
He was in his element.
Let me tell you something. These guys are polished. They're seasoned. They're well coached. They're well taught. They're not going to really give you nothing to build on. Both quarterbacks were phenomenal, very professional. And you weigh both teams, it's equality. I can't lean either way at this point. Both teams are really poised and they really are focused. That's what I garnished from last night.
I agree. It came off beautifully. As usual, you were sometimes better than the guy you were interviewing with your questions. But there was one fascinating exchange that caught my eye and ear with your man, Richard Sherman. You have been a mentor to him, sort of a guiding light to him. And you jumped in and said, man, I called you, but I was too late.
Yeah.
Could you explain? Because obviously last week, Richard went at it with Darrelle Revis again via Twitter. But you had called Richard to say, don't do it. Leave it alone this time, right?
Let's preface it. Darrelle Revis went at Richard.
He started it, yes.
And I don't know why. I love both of them. Revis, God, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He's a dog. He's a baller's baller. He's a corner's corner. It's no reason to shoot at Richard.
Right.
Richard, man, his game is patterned a little different than ours were. But to his rightfulness, he's a dog. He's a bona fide baller, and he's done it over with longevity. So I said, look, man, don't go back and forth. This is your moment. This is your light.
Right.
Let it shine. And he just couldn't help himself. He had to shoot back, and he shot.
Okay.
And he shot
Just
back.
for the record, the big picture record, Richard actually did start this all the way back in 2012. It's old news now, but I get where you were going.
Bring it to me. Bring me back up to speed. I'm not aware of that.
Richard started to attack Darrelle back in 2012, saying when he was hurt.
Remember he tore his ACL.
Yeah, remember he was out. And Richard said, when you return to the field, you will be irrelevant. So they were going back and forth that way. Remember when Richard was going after Tom Brady and a lot of the receivers? He went after everybody. He sort of talked his way into a household name in 2012.
Well, he had the ball too now. You gave
He was starting to.
You got to walk it like you talk
you
it.
do.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But put in perspective, how do you view Richard as a strictly zone corner when obviously you were the greatest ever at traveling?
Yeah, I don't view him as a strictly zone corner. I view him as a corner who played very well in what he was asked to do. You got another dog on the other side in Seattle for a myriad of years. They didn't flip. They didn't flop. That secondary was bona fide, one of the best to ever be assembled.
Right.
So I don't view him as that. I view him as a guy who did exactly what they asked him to do and then did more than that.
Okay.
And that's what it's hard for people to understand when they see Revis travel.
Right.
You travel. Sherm didn't travel. But it's like, well, Sherm's not traveling, therefore he can't be as good. But he was great at what he was asked to do.
But
All I can do,
Sherm is not traveling because he doesn't want to.
Correct.
He's not saying, hey, man, I'm not, coach, I'm not doing that.
Right.
He's not doing that.
Right.
That's the difference. I've seen some guys, and I ain't doing that. I'm not going on the other side. I know some guys in this game will not travel.
Or you go in the slot.
Exactly.
Nobody really,
I want to go in the slot.
Okay.
I'm going in there.
The slots are different animals.
Could Richard have traveled, especially earlier in his career,
Yes.
and been
Yes.
no, he's not Deion because there's never been another Deion.
And it won't be.
Okay, thank you. There we go.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Deion, if we could take you back a few years to the height of your playing days, and you face this team, would you take Tyreek? Again, sometimes he's going to line up in
Yeah.
the slot, but would you take him everywhere?
I want their dog.
Okay.
I would want their dog.
All right.
But I got to do it in the understanding of the defense, what we're trying to accomplish. It does us no good to have a personal vendetta and personal battle, and I win, but the rest of the team is losing. It don't make sense.
Right.
So if they could just single me out, put me on Tyreek, and then you got one-on-one backside with Sammy. They have 3 ones, man.
Right.
These
Mecole
guys
Hardman.
have 3 ones on this.
And then what you can do with Travis Kelce.
I watched them practice this Friday in Kansas City, and let me tell you something, man. You know, as an analyst, as a football guy, you try not to fall in love with the last woman that you were just with. You know? Let me keep this on television.
Yeah, we get
I'm sorry, my mind just, you know. But you have a tendency and a propensity to just adore that team. And it was so easy. When you see Mahomes throwing the ball 50, 60 yards and sprinting down the field to greet him in the end zone, even at practice, it was unbelievable. These guys are really good. They play at their speed, they practice professionalism, they practice, I mean, that ball is coming out, the ball is not touching the ground. It's a quick pace. These guys are going to get it. I loved it. Boy, I cannot wait to see how San Francisco is poised to stop this offense.
What are you gonna do?
You gotta
against
pick your
Tyreek?
poison.
You gonna bump Tyreek?
No, man. I'm gonna make them do something they don't want to do in this run the football. I got to make them run the. I'm going double. I'm doubling Tyreek, and
Really?
I'm doubling Kelce, and everybody else. You better hunt. You man to man.
Okay, but if you're Deion Sanders, you don't need to double Tyreek, right?
No, but it ain't but one prime.
Okay. all right.
Yeah. So
By the way, at your peak, were you faster than Tyreek?
You can't say clock. We got to stop thinking about the clock. We talking about the field.
Yes.
It's a lot of fast guys, but they don't do it on the
They
field.
don't play fast.
They don't play fast, and it ain't like that. Going to get the ball, that was going to be a party. Like, it was no one faster than Jerry Rice going to get the ball, and Jerry ran a 4.6 on clock. But on man, he was about a 4.1 on man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on clock, you were 4.2.
For breakfast.
Last week, you made a powerful comment. The Hall of Famer across from me and I discussed it here on Undisputed, and he found himself in a tricky spot because he's obviously in the Hall of Fame.
Together.
Yes, together. There you go. But it was about Eli Manning's Hall of Fame credentials.
Wow.
And your quote was, "I'm not so sure what being a Hall of Famer means anymore." And you went on to say, "You're supposed to change the position you played to become a Hall of Famer. I am 1,000% with you. My golden rule is if I have to think twice about you, you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame." Is he a Hall of Famer? Well, he's out. Deion, yes, Deion was a Hall of Famer. He was a 0 ballot Hall of Famer, not first. He's just in the Hall of Fame. So you were conflicted about Eli because he was a 500 quarterback who led the league in interceptions 3 times. Last 8 years he started, they make the playoffs 1 time. He had 2 magical Super Bowl runs. We know that, and he beat Tom Brady twice. So expand, if you would, to Shannon here about your convictions about this.
What is a Hall of Famer? Like, when we grew up, Hall of Famer was somebody who changed the darn game, that you wanted to go purchase a ticket to go see them play individually. They were special. They was set aside. You wanted to see them practice, not only play. You couldn't wait to see them amongst town and say, "Oh, man, there goes Shannon Sharp right there. Oh, my God, I can't wait to see him play." It ain't like that no more.
No.
It's Tom, Dick, and Harry and Larry getting in the Hall of Fame now, man. And I hate to be that guy to sit up there and say, I don't know about that.